In the previous episode, Jinwoo activated his mutilation skill, unleashing one slash after another, raining down upon the Ant King's body. Within moments, the Ant King had been slain. With their ruler's fall, the rest of the ant monster's formation collapsed. Panic spread among them as they scrambled in fear, and the entire nest descended into chaos. The hunters finally felt a moment of relief, believing that the raid was over, but that relief was short-lived. Hunter Cha was still in critical condition. Jinwoo rushed to her side and, seeing her state, realized that time was running out. He quickly retrieved the holy water of life from his inventory, hoping that this potion could save Cha. But just then, a system notification popped up. Potion does not apply to the subject's condition. This meant that the potion wouldn't work on Cha. Hearing this, Jinwoo felt a surge of frustration. He began thinking that the potion was useless, and to make matters worse, his shadow exchange skill was still on cooldown. His mind raced as he desperately searched for a solution, anything that could save Cha. He suddenly gets a badass idea. He turns to the cameraman and says, "Can you please turn off your camera for a while?" Cameraman had no idea why Jinwoo was asking him to turn off the camera. But the whole world knew, no one dares refuse a request from Sung Jinwoo. If he says something, that's final. But literally you won't believe. The cameraman tried refusing at first, saying, "I can't do that." And then Jinwoo said something really intense. "Do you want to die by my hands? You escaped from the monster, but do you want to die from me instead?" And immediately, scared out of his mind, the cameraman said, Okay, don't worry. I'll turn it off right now." And even the cameraman was wondering, why did Jinwoo suddenly ask me to turn off the camera? Then Jinwoo gives a command to his shadow soldiers. "Quickly, bring Min's body to me." Through a short while, a shadow soldier brings Min's body to Jinwoo. No one could understand what Jinwoo was trying to do. Even Beck asks him, "Jinwoo, what are you planning to do?" Then Jinwoo uses his shadow extraction technique. And when Jinwoo says "arise" for the first time, it fails. No shadow comes out from Min. Then he tries again, "arise." But even the second attempt fails. Now Jinwoo starts thinking, I can't afford a third failure. If I fail this time, Cha might not survive. He was determined, I have to make this work somehow. But he still couldn't understand, why isn't it working? And Jinwoo knew clearly, only Min can save Cha's life right now. There is no one else here who can do it. In my opinion, Jinwoo had completely forgotten about the ant monster, who also had healing magic abilities. But anyway, now Jinwoo says arise for the third and final time, and finally, Min arises successfully. He becomes a part of Jinwoo's shadow army. One thing I forgot to tell you earlier, I mistakenly said Tank brought Min's body, but actually it wasn't Tank, it was another shadow soldier. After seeing all this, Beck gets really angry, thinking Jinwoo can even bring the dead back to life? Everyone around was completely shocked. They had never seen anything like this in their lives. Even Mudun says, "Now I understand, this hunter is completely different from the rest." After that, Min's shadow goes straight to Cha and begins healing her. Beck is stunned and emotionally moved. He just can't understand how Min is able to heal anyone. He's about to ask Jinwoo about it, but before that, Jinwoo says, "I haven't even given Min any command yet." To be honest, Min's soul was really pure. The moment he realized that Cha was in danger, he went on his own to help her. And at that moment, even Beck becomes emotional. He realizes there's nothing he can do now. Min's shadow has returned, but Min can never come back again. Seeing all this, even the cameraman is stunned, thinking, is there really a human who can summon the dead? And finally, he realizes why Jinwoo had asked him to turn off the camera. Jinwoo didn't want the world to know the full extent of his powers. Choi was also thinking, the more I observe him day by day, the more his powers keep growing. When will it finally stop? When will he hold back or restrain his powers? And after that, what happens is... Beck begins to request Jinwoo, in all your future battles, please don't involve Min. Min never liked fighting, and if you do this, it will only torment his soul. His soul won't find peace. And do you know what Jinwoo says to Beck here? Bro, you just put your hand on my shoulder for the second time and you're only safe right now because you made a request to me, not an order. But don't worry at all. I'm going to set Min free after I revive Cha. Through this, the healing process of Min finally comes to an end, meaning Jinwoo heals Cha. Then, Jinwoo goes to Min and performs Terminate Extraction. This meant that if Jinwoo wanted to turn someone into a shadow, he had to use Arise, but if he wanted to remove someone from his team, he used Terminate Extraction. Hearing this from Jinwoo calms Beck down a little. He feels a bit relieved, like, at least this guy listens to someone. We are then shown a soft smile on Min's face, as if, while his shadow was disappearing, there was peace on his face. Finally, Min's body vanishes from there. Beck thanks Jinwoo for this. Then a helicopter arrives to pick them up, and everyone starts leaving. But Jinwoo had one last important task to finish. He tells Beck, "You all go ahead, I've got something left to do. I'll finish it here and then come." Beck, of course, just agrees and says, "All right, you can do whatever you need to." Just then, Beck looks up at the sky and he is shocked. A huge number of ant monsters were still alive. Beck is stunned and thinks, how are there still so many ant monsters left? Even Jinwoo thinks, do I really have to defeat these two? I thought I'd only be doing my favorite part now. Then he calls out Kaisel, his shadow dragon. Jinwoo climbs on top of Kaisel, though honestly he mostly just stands on him rather than sitting if you ask me. Then he tells Beck, well then, we'll meet again next time. Beck, seeing Kaisel, is even more shocked than before. And after that, Kaisel starts taking down all the remaining ant monsters one by one. Next, we are shown the ship where Minoru and the rest of the team, Goto's teammates, were present. Poor Minoru was still terribly scared, almost in shock. He thinks, I've never seen such a powerful creature in my life. He'll kill everyone, he won't spare anyone. You people just can't understand what I saw. I saw how he killed Goto. If he could defeat Goto so easily, then who are we in front of him? I don't think anyone can defeat him. I feel like this raid is going to fail. He keeps repeating, there's no hunter who can complete this raid. Then Sugimoto says, bro, calm down. The Jeju Island raid is already over. The one you're talking about has already been taken care of. Hearing this, Minoru can't believe it. What? Someone defeated him? How is that even possible? Just then, an employee comes and informs them that many ants are approaching again. Hearing this, everyone is shocked again. They thought all the ants were wiped out, but now they realize many still remain. Then, all the ships prepare again for battle. Through that, we see Jinwoo inside a dungeon again. But this time, he wasn't doing anything. His shadow army was doing all the work. All the remaining ants were being wiped out by them. Jinwoo was just watching everything joyfully, but even he felt like they were working a bit lazily. Then, he takes out a badass bedazzled sword from his inventory, spins it like a top, and starts slashing all the surrounding ant monsters. After using the sword, even Jinwoo is surprised. He thinks, I have so many amazing weapons in my inventory, but I've never even used them. And then he thinks, from now on, I'm going to start using all of them. In the next scene, we are shown the director of the Federal Bureau of Hunters, whose name is David. A man named Michael says to David, did you see that video? And you already know which video he's talking about. David replies, yes, I've seen that video many times. And honestly, I still can't believe it. If someone had just told me about it, I wouldn't have believed it. Michael agrees and says, exactly. Is it really possible for a human to command thousands of beasts and give them orders? They were talking about Jinwoo, saying that such a talent shouldn't belong to a country like South Korea. It should belong to their country. By the way, this whole scene is happening in America. I forgot to mention that earlier. David says, you're absolutely right. A small country like South Korea doesn't deserve someone like him. But what can we even do now? Then they show a file containing all details about Jinwoo, from the time when he was a weak hunter till now. It also includes how many hunters Jinwoo has defeated and other such details. They also talk about the mysterious hunter Jinwoo's father, though they don't yet know that he's Jinwoo's dad. After hearing all this, David says, "You've given me a lot of information. Now let's see what we can do next." Finally, we see Jinwoo again, who had now crossed level 100 and was adding all the dead ant monsters around him into his shadow army. While Jinwoo was extracting all the shadows, suddenly everything in front of him becomes extremely dark, and he doesn't understand what's happening. That's when he realizes maybe during the extraction he also extracted the Ant King. But Jinwoo feels like maybe he failed, that he couldn't extract him properly. Then suddenly the same shadow appears behind Jinwoo and says, "I'm back, master." Jinwoo is completely shocked. He had assumed the extraction would fail, because it's not easy to extract such a terrifying beast in one go. But the Ant King's shadow looks incredibly badass now, even better than he did before. Then the Ant King comes in front of Jinwoo and bows to him. He literally says, "Master, please give me a good name." The Ant King's starting rank is General. Finally, Jinwoo names him Baru. So for those who didn't know who Baru is, now you know. Though I'm sure many of you already knew about him. After this, Jinwoo goes to the Ant Queen and starts extracting her body. But suddenly the other ant monsters, who had already turned into shadows, start attacking Jinwoo. Jinwoo doesn't understand why they're attacking him. They're supposed to be his soldiers. That's when Baru explains that the queen is the ruler here, and all ants follow the queen's command. And then Jinwoo realizes, if the queen comes back to life, then all the monsters will start following her instead of him. Baru continues explaining further. The queen is definitely very powerful, there's no doubt about it. But her powers can't be used in battle. Her sole purpose is reproduction, and that's the reason all the ant monsters obey her. And since now she's dead, reproduction is no longer possible either. Now Jinwoo understands that these shadows are no longer useful. So he terminates the queen and the rest of the ant monsters, basically removes them from his team. After that, Jinwoo returns to his other teammates, the rest of his shadow army, who were busy collecting mana stones. But Jinwoo tells them there's no need to collect stones anymore, 'cause Jeju Island is already in terrible condition, and these mana stones will now be extremely useful in repairing and restoring the island. And you won't believe it, Jinwoo's shadow army is actually very happy with this decision. Whether it's because they no longer have to work or because their master is so kind, that's up to you to imagine. Then Jinwoo asks Baru, "Do you know how many ants were here?" Baru replies that before the attack there were about 9,000 ants, out of which around 4,000 survived. Jinwoo then realizes he should have joined the battle a little earlier. And now you might be wondering, why aren't you using a heavy, dark voice for Baru? Well, because Baru has now become a good guy, a good shadow. So there's no need to give him a villainous voice anymore. Then Jinwoo asks Baru, "Can you eliminate the remaining ant monsters?" And Baru says, "Master, if this is your order, I'll carry it out till my last breath." After that, we're shown a scene with Park and the other hunters. When a swarm of ant monsters start approaching them, they all get ready and start killing them. These were the hunters who were stationed on the ship, waiting to prevent any ants from reaching the city. And now they were skillfully killing the ants one by one. But suddenly they look up at the sky and see that the ant monsters are getting cut down on their own, one by one, dying mysteriously. No one can even see how they're dying. Even Jinwoo's ex is shown watching this, and she's just as shocked. Literally, no one there can understand what's happening. They're confused. Sometimes the hunters get beaten up badly, and sometimes the ants are getting massacred mercilessly. Then it's finally revealed who is killing all these ants so fast. And of course it's Baru, moving at insane speed, taking down every single ant. Then we see that a few ants also head toward China. And over there, a hunter is already waiting for them. He easily takes care of all the ants without even breaking a sweat. We aren't even shown his face. He says, If Jinwoo is eliminating all these ants and even defeated their boss, then there must be something truly special about him. Through this, we're shown a scene of Andrew and his assistant is also asking him about Jinwoo. And let me just tell you this much, Jinwoo had now become a national-level topic across the entire world because one man had cleared an S-rank dungeon all by himself. Yes, solo cleared it, which is an incredibly big deal. You can understand how shocking that is. Even Thomas was talking about how Bang Dong-suk and Jinwoo have a very interesting connection. And now it wouldn't be wrong to say that Jinwoo was the one who murdered Bang Dong-suk's younger brother. That's why Dong-suk's mind is filled with only one thing, revenge. He wants revenge from Jinwoo. And if there's even a tiny bit of truth in the rumor that Jinwoo actually killed him, then meeting him will become extremely difficult now. That's when the assistant asks Thomas, "If those two really end up fighting, what will you do?" And Thomas replies, "You already know that Dong-suk is part of our guild. And if anything happens to him, it's as good as something happening to us. And you already know this well. If anyone tries to lay a hand on our property, I break their hand. I never let it go, whether it's the government or even some place called Korea. I'll wipe them all out myself." Then we see that the crystals collected during the Jeju Island raid, the ones they were going to receive as rewards, were now being gathered by a bunch of regular hunters who were dropped there via helicopters. That means their job was now done. And you might remember, normally mining teams are responsible for collecting crystals. But this time, even hunters were being used for crystal collection. All of them were under the command of a hunter named Park. And Park becomes quite emotional while managing everything there. Why does he get emotional? Well, that's his own personal story, a backstory from his life. Let's leave that for now. Even his manager standing there wonders, "What's wrong with our master? Why is he getting so emotional?" Meanwhile, everyone was collecting a huge number of crystals. And suddenly, some ant monsters appear in front of them, the ones that were still hiding. But defeating them was child's play for Park. Don't underestimate him. He's a top-class A-rank hunter. And just then, a strange man appears in front of them, someone who looked human. All the hunters start asking, "Who are you really?" And their biggest doubt was, is he a human or some kind of magical beast? Park immediately stops everyone from attacking and says, "Let's talk first. Let's figure out who or what he is. Only then will we fight." That man then approaches them and starts speaking. And everyone is shocked. How can a beast speak? For these low-rank hunters, hearing a beast speak is extremely rare. You could say it's almost impossible in a lifetime. Then that strange man snaps his fingers, and suddenly all the hunters start collapsing. You can call it paralysis or whatever, something just happens to them. They all pass out. Right then, another person appears behind that strange man. He says, "You should really be checking who you're talking to." The first strange man also says, "I can feel his power, but not as much as I should be. I don't understand why he even wants to help the humans." Then he says to the other one, "I don't know, you go ask him yourself why he's helping humans." And honestly, he says, "This place is disgusting. It reeks." The guy in blue replies, "We'll follow through with our plan as intended. We won't change anything in our planning." Then, using magic, he opens a portal. Before leaving, he says, "You should leave this place as soon as you can. But if you want to stay, that's your choice, I'm just warning you." He thinks to himself, "Yeah, I should leave too. There's no powerful person here that could help me kill time anyway." And then, he disappears from there too. Now after watching this scene, you must have figured out something strange is going on. But I'm not going to tell you anything. So first, go drop a comment below and tell me, what do you think is happening here? Who are these mysterious people? I want to see who among you has actually read the manhwa already. Then the story shifts to a few days after the Jeju Island raid ends. We see a memorial ceremony being held for all the hunters and people who died in the raid. Jinwoo is also present there. And you know how news reporters are, they don't care about the emotional side of it. They're all just busy clicking pictures of Jinwoo. And Jinwoo, he's super famous now. These things have become routine for him. He needs to get used to this lifestyle. Everyone there is praising Jinwoo. I've never seen anyone like him. People were genuinely confused. How could one man summon so many beasts? Everyone had been struggling with Jeju Island for the past 10 years. And Jinwoo shows up out of nowhere and clears it like it was nothing. People were saying, he should have come earlier. Then this raid would have been over long ago. So many conversations like this were happening in the background, I just gave you a glimpse. Till now, nobody really knew how Jinwoo fights. People knew he's an S-rank hunter, but they had never actually seen him in action. Now for the first time they saw everything live on television. After this, people also started saying, Jinwoo should be given the title of national-level hunter now. He cleared an S-rank dungeon alone and no one else has such skills. But of course, not everyone praises him. People started criticizing him too. Some were saying, if Jinwoo had arrived earlier, none of those hunters would have died. They all died because Jinwoo wanted to make a heroic entrance at the end. He wanted the spotlight. That's why so many people died. So now you can understand, just like Jinwoo had fans, he had haters too. That's obvious. When someone becomes popular, these things naturally happen. Then we see Jinwoo offering flowers in front of Min's photo, paying his respects and preparing to leave. But just then, Beck stops him and says, Jinwoo, I never thought a single person could finish an entire battle by himself. But after what I saw recently with my own eyes, he thanks Jinwoo deeply for giving him a chance to meet Min one last time. And we also see Chahaein, who had survived. Obviously, it's because Min Byung-gu healed her, so of course she survived. And she's looking towards Jinwoo, and when Jinwoo looks back at her, she literally starts blushing a lot. And Jinwoo is like, what just happened? What did I do? I didn't even do anything, then why is she making that kind of face? And this was the 5th Jeju Island raid, and we're told the ratio of how many hunters were killed and how many survived. Now, I'm not going to go into deep details about those statistics, I'll just tell you this. Compared to the previous raid, this time the number of deaths was significantly lower. You could say it was almost negligible, only around 50 to 60 people were killed. Through that, we see Chairman Goguni and Jinwoo sitting together and talking. The chairman says, so, you've made your plans to start your own guild? He continues, let me tell you something, an S-rank hunter doesn't even need a license to become a guild master. If you just give us a call, that would be enough for us to process it. In fact, he says, you wouldn't even need to call. We're close enough already. And Jinwoo thinks, wow, this is how it works? S-rank hunters really do get a lot of privileges. Then the chairman asks, can you create a barrier around Jeju Island? Jinwoo is confused. He doesn't understand why the chairman is asking this. Then the chairman starts explaining. When we sent a group of hunters to collect crystals and rare items from Jeju Island, they did their job well, collected many stones and items. But suddenly, all of them collapsed and lost consciousness. And they themselves don't know how they passed out. Every single hunter, all unconscious. And we can't say they were weak, because Park Hee-jin was among them. And you know he's the guild leader of Night Guild. He's not weak. Sure, he's just an A rank, but he's still very skilled. I don't know what happened there, but they were clearly terrified. Honestly, they didn't even tell me everything. They just said they couldn't remember anything that happened before passing out. Between collecting crystals and passing out, everything in between is a blank for them. They don't remember anything. That's why I'm thinking we should place a barrier around the area so there are no problems in the future. And Jinwoo says, I'm sorry, but I can't do something like that. The chairman smiles and says, I knew you'd say that. No worries, it's all right. Then Jinwoo asks, did they say anything else? Chairman replies, no, nothing else. But Jinwoo is suspicious. He thinks maybe those ant monsters left behind some kind of trap after dying, like they had some plan in motion. While they're still talking, a staff member from the Hunter Association comes in and says, "Sir, someone is here to meet you." Chairman says, "All right then, Jinwoo. I'll head out." Then Jinwoo is about to leave in his car and go home, but just then a man approaches him and says, "Mr. Jinwoo, it's really nice to meet you." This man's name is Adam White, and he's from the Federal Bureau of Hunters, FBH. Jinwoo is thinking, why is the FBH here for me now? Adam gives him a business card and says, "I'm sorry for showing up suddenly like this, but honestly, finding you was extremely difficult. I even went to your office, but you weren't there either. Finally, I've managed to meet you." Jinwoo thinks, wait a minute. Why was he at my office? And suddenly it hits him. He remembers Yoo Jin-ho had mentioned this guy earlier. So this is that same guy. Then Jinwoo says, "All right, first tell me, what do you want from me?" Adam replies, "I want to share some very important information with you, something that barely anyone in the world will ever get to know." Jinwoo asks, "Why are you trying to share this with me?" Adam says, "Because we see immense talent in you. This kind of information is only shared with people like you, highly talented individuals." Then he says, "Our director wants to meet you. After the Jeju Island raid, you've become even more famous. So, would you like to come with me?" And literally, Jinwoo refuses him straight up. He says, "I don't know what information you want to give me. What if it's useless to me? What will I even do with it?" Then he gets into his car about to drive off, but just then Adam says, "I'm sorry. I knew you wouldn't agree so easily. And I also knew that hiding the real information from you wouldn't work." Then he drops the bomb. He mentions the upgrader. The upgrader is someone who can enhance the abilities of awakened hunters, essentially triggering a reawakening, taking their power to a whole new level. Hearing this, Jinwoo is intrigued. Now his interest is piqued. He agrees to go with Adam. Finally, they meet the deputy director, and Jinwoo introduces himself. Michael, the deputy director, also says, "Nice to meet you," and gives his introduction. Adam says, "I'll be acting as your translator during this meeting. If there's anything you don't understand, feel free to ask me." Then Michael places some documents in front of Jinwoo. He says, "Usually this kind of file takes 1 to 2 years to process. But I'll tell you just one word, and if you say yes or no to it, you can become a citizen of the United States in just 1 second. Not just a citizen, but a special status citizen." Jinwoo thinks to himself, so this is the big information Adam was talking about? I came here to hear this nonsense? So many thoughts are running in Jinwoo's mind, and finally he asks directly, "Is it really possible to increase a hunter's ability?" Michael replies, "Yes, you're absolutely right, it's possible. And the person who can do that is here right now. I'd like you to meet him." So this video ends here, and I'm telling you honestly, the next episode is going to be insanely exciting. These guys who are showing off so much, Jinwoo is going to show them their real place. Don't worry about that at all. You just have to wait a little bit. I had planned to upload 2 videos this week, but I just couldn't manage. So I uploaded only 1, but I tried my best to make sure this one video is worth it, so you can enjoy it fully. Let me know in the comments section if you enjoyed today's video or not. If you liked it, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.